All right, I'm going to call good evening and welcome. I'm going to call the regular meeting of the Nevada City Council to order. Today is Wednesday, June 24th, and it is exactly 6:30. Who wants to do the Nisenan land recognition? I was an eager,
Happy to.
we don't have to stand for this.
We acknowledge that the Nisenan people are still here among us today, though nearly invisible. We understand that we are on Nisenan land that was never ceded, and the original tribal families have yet to recover from the near genocide of their people. As a resident or visitor in Nisenan land, we support the Nevada City Rancheria Nisenan tribe in efforts to stabilize their people, as well as their campaign to restore federal recognition.
Thank you. All right, if everybody would stand and join me for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag
of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation,
under God.
indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, everyone. All right. Today, I'd just like to make an announcement that our dear Vice Mayor Fernandez will not be in attendance. She is recovering from knee replacement surgery, and that is not fun, I'll tell you that. And so we wish her well and hope she's back as soon as possible. The city attorney is joining us via Zoom. Hello.
Good evening, Council.
Thank you. Madam Deputy Clerk, roll call, please.
Councilmember Cece.
Here.
Councilmember Klein.
Here.
Councilmember Peterson.
Here.
Vice Mayor Hernandez is out. Mayor Fleming.
Here. All right, thank you. Now, Council, now it's time for the adoption of agenda and modifications, if there are any. Would anyone like to make any changes to the agenda, pull a consent item, or do we have any recusals or anything like that? Sounds like that's a no, so I'm looking for a motion and a second to adopt
I
the
move that
agenda.
we approve the agenda.
Second.
All right, a first by Gary, a second by Lou. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All right, it passes 4-0. All right, presentations. Today, and that's who you are. Today we have a new employee introduction. Lisa McCandles, our interim city planner. Come on down.
Hello. Thanks for
Hello.
having me.
Yeah, we're excited to have you here. Tell us a little bit about yourself.
So I've lived in Nevada City since 2010. I'm originally from Reno. I grew up in the area in Truckee, skiing a lot. And yeah, I've made a home here, and I've been doing planning work since, I guess, almost 10 years, mostly in the private sector, but doing a lot of projects for agencies. And then more recently, doing a lot of projects for landowners, helping them get through permitting process and get land use entitlements and such. So yeah, I'm happy to be helping the city, and glad to meet you all.
Well, nice to meet you, and we're excited to have you here. So you were on the other side, and now you're on this side, so that's kind of good. It's like lawyers, we switch back and forth, and then it helps us become better.
Yes.
But,
Are you a lawyer?
Maybe.
Oh, okay.
Sometimes. But, do you have a planning background?
I do, yes.
okay,
Yeah, I have a
wonderful.
degree in land use planning
Wow.
and GIS mapping. And
We need that.
yeah,
And a FAA drone pilot?
yes,
What?
and I'm also licensed by the FAA as an unmanned aircraft pilot.
Wow, very impressive. Gentlemen, does anybody want to say hello and welcome to our wonderful new interim planner?
No, I just want to say it's nice to see you again. I saw you at the picnic. I can say it's my council, my planning commissioner is thrilled to have you, and as am I. So
Thank you.
Welcome aboard.
Thank you.
Welcome, Lisa. Thanks for being here.
Yep.
Thank you so much.
Yep. Thank you.
We'll see more of you for sure. All right. Oh, you were going to present that, Sean. I'm sorry.
Oh, that was perfect. I'll take it.
you got the over or the under on the
Yeah. Oh, that's why.
I'll bet you. I'm taking a piece of that. All right. Public comment. Government Code Section 54954.3 provides that any member of the public may address the city council on any matter not on the agenda that is within the subject matter jurisdiction of the city. The Brown Act, with limited exceptions, does not allow council or staff to discuss issues brought forth under public comment. The council cannot take actions on non-agenda items. Concern may be referred to staff or placed on a future agenda. Please note that comments from the public will be also taken at the time each agenda item is heard. All right, is there any public comment in the room? Go down top.
on down.
Come on down.
My name's Tom Stone. I live in Nevada County, and I'm on the Penguin swim team, actually the board. In fact, Lou swims for the Penguins. They publish the Masters Swim Group publishes a magazine. It's a national magazine. And this month, they featured the Penguin swim team and how Nevada City helped us out during the COVID and during the construction of Memorial Pool, where we are right now. So I brought, Lou took his copy already. I brought 4 more copies. Would you can you give Daniela one?
Oh,
Okay.
for sure, for sure. Thank you so much, Tom. That's really nice. I didn't even know that happened. I know that we did provide respite for the Penguins while they were exiled from Memorial Park.
That's true. It's a good article. It's kind of interesting. As you know, Pioneer Park remained open for us last winter. They normally close it every winter and drain the pool. The dressing rooms are open to the sky, but some of them are sheltered. So there's some interesting points in there about getting dressed while snow is falling next to you in the dressing room. It was a great help that you helped us out during that time period. So we kept our club together. We lost a lot of members, COVID-wise, and just the fact that Pioneer Park was hard to work with. I'm sorry, but there weren't any lane lines, there weren't any targets to turn, weren't, et cetera. So the article explains how we did all that stuff.
Yeah, well, you used noodles, I think, right?
Yeah.
Well, that's right.
Yes. Strung noodles together to make lane lines.
We had noodle lane lines. At the end, by the way, we did purchase lane lines and left them with Pioneer Park.
That was wonderful of you guys.
Yeah. Some people wanted to come and swim with us just to swim with it. Never done the noodle swimming before. So that was kind of cool. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed the article. I hope you read it. And it's interesting. It gives Nevada City some notoriety, actually,
We love notoriety.
for the entire nation, since it's a national magazine.
That's awesome. Well, you know, Tom, if you have some time and you want to read our agenda today, buried in a 100-page report, CIP report, talks about when we're going to make improvements to the pool as far as winterizing and insulating the bathrooms and things like
Right.
that, so people don't get snowed on. So that is a work in progress, and maybe we can get you guys back here when all that stuff is done.
That's true. We'd like to give some input about the new pool, what to do, and how to change things, how to fix it up. We have all kinds of ideas.
Oh, that's great. Gary, you wanted to say something?
I did. It's fascinating. My wife, Christine Bitaro, actually wrote that article that was submitted to Swimming Magazine.
Oh, yeah.
And they were trying to figure out whether they were going to publish an article. Instead, the editor just usurped the article and published it as his article without credit to my wife. But I learned a lot about you guys while she was writing that and the history, and it's fascinating. But it's a wonderful article.
Yeah, she's a swimmer, and it was,
Oh, yeah.
it was. I remember that, and I was kind of surprised that the editor of Swimmer Magazine took her article, rewrote it, and put his name on it.
Yeah, that's pretty much what
I
happened.
don't know how often that happens.
called
But I
plagiarism.
may give this article to the local newspaper here and see
Please
what they
do.
want to do with it, too. Okay.
Oh, yeah.
All right.
Thanks so much, Tom.
Yeah,
Really
thanks a lot.
appreciate
Thanks
it.
for your time, by the way.
Of course. Thank you. Is there anybody else in the room who'd like to make public comment? Oh, come on down.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. I'm Star Carroll, 124 Boulder Street. I just want to thank you again for your service this year. It's been quite a year. You've had to deal with a lot of important things. And I wanted to thank you for continuing the Nisenan recognition for Pride Month, Nevada City Pride Month, and for not sitting on your attributes all year. I mean, you've done a heck of a job. So thanks again for taking out the garbage and getting the dishes washed. Appreciate it.
Oh, that's so nice. Thank you, Star. It's nice to hear the compliments instead of
it all
the
worthwhile.
complaints, which we don't get that many, I'd have to say. So if there's no more public comment in the room, we're going to look on, I'm sorry. Our very own, you're behind the podium. I didn't see you back there.
Danielle is not here tonight tell me where to speak.
I can help you
Oh, good.
that. Somebody else can help you.
First, I want to think this is a very nice article on Tim Brown in the Union.
Oh, yeah.
Good for you, Chief. You picked a good man. And second of all, welcome to Nevada City, Lisa. Now I have to put on the cheaters.
What day is it?
Well, today, the Knicks is very short but very pertinent. Flag Day commemorates the adoption of the flag of the United States, which took place on June 14th, 1777. In 1916, Woodrow Wilson made a proclamation establishing June 14th as Flag Day. And Flag Day, National Flag Day, was established by an act of Congress signed by Harry Truman. But what I didn't know, on June 14th in 1775, the American Continental Army was formed, which is the base of our military today. The Nax. According to the Greek legend, on today's date, 1 week before the start of summer, Archimedes, a Greek scientist and mathematician, while taking a bath when he noticed the water level rose when he got in, and it occurred to him that the volume of an object could be measured by submerging in water. Upon realizing this, he jumped out of the tub and exclaimed, "Eureka, Eureka," while running naked through the streets of Syracuse. Today is National Strawberry Shortcake Day, and it's also National Bourbon Day, which was created by the Reverend Elijah Craig in Bourbon County, Kentucky, because the rye coming from New York was too expensive, and he figured out we have a lot of corn, and he was the father of bourbon. And for the music buffs, on today in 1923, Little Old Log Cabin in the Lane by moonshiner John William Carson, regarded as the first country music hit, was recorded. In 1886, pharmacist John Steph Pemberton began selling Coca-Cola, his health tonic for nervous afflictions. At an Atlanta pharmacy, he sold about 9 glasses per day that year. They're not like that today. And for the gamers, Mr. Run and Jump will be the first official cartridge for Atari 2600 since 1990. It is also available on newer platforms like PS5 and Switch. And today, this year, it's the 150th birthday of the cable cars in San Francisco, which was done by Halliday, who built the first suspension bridge in Nevada City.
Right up there, yeah.
And the suspension bridge fell down at one time with some injuries and deaths. But the suspension bridge was built in 1862 to 1903. The Galt Street Bridge was 1903 to 1996, and the Pine Street Bridge is 1996 to today. And in 1996, the Trolls returned to Nevada City because of the new bridge. And if you want to hear about that, I can do that too. So thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Clerk. I really appreciate it.
This is not Archimedes who said, "Give me a lever and I will move the world."
All right, folks, we're on to the consent agenda. All items listed under the consent agenda are considered to be routine in nature and will be approved by one motion. There will be no separate discussion of these items. So I'm looking for a motion and a second
I move that we
approve the consent.
Aye.
Aye. Oh, it passes 4-0. All right. That's a lot of consent.
It is a lot of consent,
Good,
yes.
good stuff in there. I saw that, did we only get 89,000 from the Conservancy? Was that the total for the fire?
The S&C grant? No, that's just the contract amount.
Okay, oh, that's for the, under the trees, yeah, okay. All right, public hearing. Item number 12, conduct a public hearing on the city's fiscal stabilization plan, master fee schedule, appropriations limit, and finance policies. That's a lot of stuff, Steve. We're glad you're here. Oh, he's got it.
He's going to read all of it.
Yeah, okay. This is going to be presented by Sean Grayson, our city manager, and Steve Erlandson. Erlandson. All right, I never pronounced that right. Interim city assistant manager. Thank you both.
Well, my part is the least important, but it goes first. So I've been here just over 16 months. This is my second budget with the city. We only had 3 months from the time I landed to get on an on-time budget last year when we were 2 years behind on budget and audit. So that was a pretty heavy lift, and I noted at that time that while the budget format changed, was more transparent, easier to read, had a lot of the elements that we wanted to have in it, there was some more work to do, and this is the more work to do. So this budget format is something that could win a GFOA award. It's a best practices budget. It has a lot of content in it that you probably will only ever read once, but the next person that comes into any seat in the city or any council member seat or just moves to the city and wants to know what a certain fund is can read it in there, and it will be updated and maintained, and so we don't lose that information over time. So you know, I really want to thank the council for their leadership in getting us to where we are with all of that. I know it was some work for us. It was a tremendous heavy lift for the 5 of you, as well as a couple folks that left the council after the last election. So kudos to all of you. Big thanks to all of our employees who kept the city running during the turmoil that we had some years back. Of course, interim assistant city manager Stephen Erlandson, our deputy city clerk Gabby right here, our county technician Brittany, and our customer service rep Tanya. Collectively, I'll call them Team Finance, deserve the credit for anything you like in the budget. I'll add Brian McAllister, our city engineer, for anything you like in the CIP. Anything you don't like, certainly you can blame it on me, but if you could call it out so we can fix it, I would appreciate that. The presented budget is balanced, and what we refer to as balanced better. The use of reserve funds that you'll see in the budget is the result of reappropriating previously budget amounts so the city can hit the refresh button. So we talked about that in the workshop. You know, there was discontinuity in how we had done it in the past. So we're just, everything that we've done before, stop, reappropriate in this budget, move forward. Total general fund operating budget, Steve will get into the numbers, but 6.294 million on revenues of 6.319 million. Our projected revenues overall are about a 2% increase. So we do remain revenue constrained, but certainly some things that are in our near term that we'll be working on. We are maintaining the nearly $2 million across our 6 reserve funds. There's no spending there other than what Steve will talk about with, we always do spend money and then recover money, but that will come out of our general fund. We've added objectives in this budget under each department to address strategic plan goals and objectives, and we have a funding stream for seed money that comes from the American Rescue Act plan funds. So for example, we could fund a community wildfire protection plan for Nevada City under the fire initiative, or at least local program under the housing initiative. The money, all that money is one time, but I believe that it will really give us an opportunity to advance essentially all of our 7 strategic initiatives and our 3 embedded strategic initiatives in this budget year. But we'll address those monies as they come. You'll have to approve them as they go, which is good. It means that I can't do it without you. We are adding personnel and services to the city in this budget. So a corporal school resource officer that was funded by Prop 64 Cohort 2 will continue for the next 5 years. That is in this budget. Under the police department, in public works, we have a position for fire fuels mitigation operator, somebody to run our masticator or dozer or lawnmower or weed whacker or hand pruner, whatever is necessary to get the ball rolling on what we need to do with our almost 450 acres of property that the city is responsible for. So if you do the math, 2.19 square mile city, 450 acres, add the undeveloped land, half of the city is not developed. Which is a fire fuel risk. So excited about that position. Prop 64 funded, a community risk reduction and outreach officer, which will be all things engaging the community in that process on private property, working with the Fire Safety Advisory Committee. That's a Measure C funded position. And then the general funded positions is administrative services technician, essentially human resources, risk management. There's a lot in that world to hire someone or to fire someone is a lot of paperwork, especially if you want to do it right, and we do want to do it right. So it'll also give us capacity with that position for the front desk. We do let people take sick leave and vacation, and we want to maintain customer service relations. So you'll adopt a new salary schedule in this budget. It does include the 4% raise for all of our employees, which I really appreciate the council's leadership on that as we continue to invest in infrastructure in this budget, but also in our greatest asset, which is our employees. In totality, this budget represents the largest city budget with the greatest service levels in city history. So I hesitated to even put that in my message because it sounds like it's boasting, but it's true, and it's reflective of what this council has done with the city. You've added, in the last 3 years, you've added $1 million to our budget. You've added personnel. We're creating programs that have never existed in this city to, do fire fuels abatement, to engage our community, and to do a number of other things that are on the horizon. So look forward to that, and I think it's important to note, but it's strange to put pen to paper on that. What's not in this budget, but something that we will need to tackle over the next 5 years, is deferred maintenance on infrastructure, facilities, and open space. And so while that fuels reduction operator is a good start, it is certainly not something, they won't be able to do all of the work that would make us all feel warm and fuzzy that we're doing everything possible to maintain the city-owned properties and helping our community maintain privately owned properties in a way that greatly reduces the risk of fire in our community. So your Fire Safety Advisory Committee will be taking that up to the summer, and I believe we'll have solutions for that funding deficit as we move into fall. The rest of the presentation tonight, relatively short, more eloquently spoken because will come from Steve. High-level revenues, expenditures, format changes. And with that, I will hand it over to Steve, and it's nice to have him here in person for a meeting.
Yeah, for sure.
You look good on TV too. So.
Yeah.
Have a career in Hollywood, is that what you're telling me?
Let's keep it in perspective, Steve.
If they need a finance
But you
person,
still got the
they
same
need a.
smile, which is really good.
Well, good evening, Honorable Mayor, members of the City Council. My presentation will be brief tonight as we went through the budget and the 5-year CIP kind of ad nauseum during our budget workshop. So this is, again, kind of a high-level overview. So this evening we'll be going over the fiscal year 23-24 operating budget and capital improvement program, the first year CIP, and then the 5-year capital improvement program, which also includes the first year that you'll be, if the council so deems, approving this evening. Is it not? Yeah. There we go. So citywide revenues and appropriations, all funds citywide, your total budgeted revenues are anticipated to be approximately $19.5 million. In terms of budgeted expenses, about $20.5 million, again, all funds citywide. And that approximately $1 million difference is due to the timing of grant reimbursements related to the Proposition 64 grant that Sean referenced a little earlier. If grant reimbursements are coming in trending better than what we've budgeted for, we will true that up at mid-year budget in February of 2024. The general fund, your revenues, as Sean stated, are a little over $6.3 million, with general fund expenses just slightly under $6.3 million. And again, as Sean said, your operating budget is balanced better. Now, those numbers that you see up there for general fund expenses are exclusive of the fiscal year 22-23 insurance proceeds related to the remodeling of the Public Works barn building. That appropriation is we're going to be in the 23-24 fiscal year, and that's why you have that delta. That's the difference there. So some significant general fund revenue items. We're projecting property tax to increase from fiscal year 23 or 22-23 to 23-24, about 2.8%, approximately $44,000. Property tax in lieu of VLF, we're anticipating about a 3% increase year over year there, which gives you a little more than $10,000. Sales tax, we're anticipating a very slight decrease, just under $10,000. That estimate comes from our third-party sales tax consultant, HDL. And again, we can true that up at mid-year. Things change there. And then your room tax, also known as transient occupancy tax, based upon trends year to date. We're anticipating that you might see an increase of about 4.7% in revenue, or about $23,000. On the expenditure side, we do have expenditure increases for utility and fuel costs, costs of most materials, service contracts for IT, LAFCO, and law enforcement dispatch. All those are increasing as well. There is a 3% escalator in the fire services contract, which is effective October of 2023, so that's built into this budget. And then personnel as well. Again, Sean alluded to it in his presentation to you. There's a 4% COLA that becomes effective July 1 of 2023. You do have an expenditure decrease related to CalPERS, and that's the CalPERS UAL paydown. Normally, every year, that paydown actually increases, but with market returns and things of that nature, there's actually a 4.8% decrease. If the city prepays the UAL, we can actually recognize an additional 5% savings, which would equate to about $23,000. So the fiscal year 23-24 proposed capital improvement plan totals just slightly under $8.9 million. As you can see up there, I've broken out in a pie chart or pie graph where all of that capital outlay is going, so to speak. You can see the emphasis is on streets and roads for the most part. Big chunk of that is the Nevada Street Replacement Bridge, or bridge replacement. But again, parks, trails, money's kind of sprinkled throughout all of your functions there. So as you know, there's a new budget format that you received during the budget workshop. So what I've done here is broken out the main components of the budget and just some of the new items that you see in this budget versus prior years. So a demographic overview, the budget process, and some other management information. The budget account structure, glossary of budget terms. In government, we like to use a lot of acronyms. Now everybody can figure out what we're actually talking about. And then classification of funds or the fund descriptions. So even when I started, I had no idea what a lot of your funds were. And now I do, and now those are memorialized in your budget. And during budget workshop, there was a question regarding the Becker Fund. What's the Becker Fund? Well, the Becker Fund accounts for expenditures made to advance the humane care of animals. And funding was provided by a donation from the estate of Ms. Beatty Becker sometime in I believe it was the late 1970s, towards maybe closer to 1980. So we have about $16,000 in that fund right now. We've appropriated $1,000 this year in the budget for animal-related items, and I believe we'll continue to do that.
I'm looking at you, Chief.
We'll continue to do that, obviously, for the foreseeable future. Also new in your budget are financial summaries. So you'll see estimated changes in your fund balances for your various funds. There's also a schedule of interfund transfers that shows you where money is being transferred between, let's say, the general fund and the capital projects fund, so on and so forth. And then also what I call a mini financial statement for your swimming pool. Because what we want to do is figure out what is our cost recovery based upon certain activities in the city. And the pool financial summary does that. So direct revenues related to the pool and direct expenditures or costs to arrive at a cost recovery ratio. And right now your cost recovery ratio is about 35%. And then also you have a section on revenues and expenditures. Those are all sliced and diced in a myriad of ways. The program and departmental details, so what every department's doing. Again, their key projects, initiatives, and then their line item budgets. And then your fiscal year 23-24 capital improvement program. So the 5-year CIP format, again, is a little more comprehensive than what you have seen in the past.
Yeah.
So again, there's a general information section regarding the budget process and other management information for that document, budget preparation timeline. Again, classification of funds, so same thing you see in your operating budget. And then what sources and uses of funds over the next 5 years, which shows you estimated revenues coming in, expenditures going out, and where we think your fund balances will be 5 years out. And then also the CIP is broken out by funding source and also by function, so function being streets and roads, trails, Pioneer Park, water, sewer, et cetera. And also for each project, whether it's going to be a current year project in 23-24 or the next 2, 3, 4, 5 years out, we have a project detail sheet for everything. So I won't read that entire list. I know everybody can read, but you know, we talk about percent funded, where we think those the funding sources and the expenditures, the timing of those, when those are going to occur, pictures and exhibits, so you can actually see where it is on a map.
I love that.
Or a picture or something of
great.
that nature. And here's an example of a project detail sheet. So kind of comprehensive, and we can retool it as time goes on based upon what the needs of the council and city staff are. So right after the project detail sheets, again, Sean alluded to this in his presentation, we have our rolling stock replacement program, and then all of our deferred capital and maintenance items that relate to some departmental CIPs, facilities, M&O, and open space M&O. And then finally, also for the CIP, a glossary of CIP-related terms. So in closing, I wanted to talk about future forecasting. So we have a 5-year CIP that you may or may not be adopting tonight. But also, I would like to work on a 5-year revenue and expenditure forecast for your operating budget, and then tie that into your 5-year CIP. That way, it'll allow city and staff to effectively plan for the long term, and will also help the city plan its future cash flows, whatever those needs may be. But kind of, tighten the ship a little bit and have enhanced planning. So staff would like to request that the City Council conduct the public hearing this evening and ultimately adopt the various resolutions that are before you. And with that, I'm available to take any questions you may have. Thank you.
Thank you, Steve. That was very well presented and just very accessible. I'm going to first look to see if we have any public comment in the room. Does anybody want to comment on the budget or the CIP or anything that we've been talking about? If not, you can check in cyberspace. Nope?
We do not, Mr. Mayor.
So, Gary, why don't you lead us off?
Okay. I'm not going to go into all this. I came into this position because we had a budget I couldn't read. And specifically around the funds and everything else, they were coded. You couldn't tell where the money was. And it's a very small budget. Let's face it. I mean, we are a small city. My previous budgets, and I've been building budgets for 30 years. I built my first one, I was thinking about this today, on Lotus 123. My last public works budget was 155 million, and I came in here with 5.6. The important thing here is these are public documents. The public should be able to look at our budgets and understand how their resources are being managed, how we account for the revenues, and it was not visible in the past. And it took a long time, as Sean articulated, because you had to start from ground zero. And it's about building a foundation. Everything is in this budget. It's beautiful, Steve. As I commented today to Sean that I'm inappropriately in love with our budget. It's beautiful. It's color coded. But it's all there. The way you describe it, the way you put it together, and the way it's built. We're built top down. You can see the revenues. You can see the expenditures. As I've often said to people, what is the purpose of local government budget? Well, it's to know how much money you have, where you spend it, where you need to think about spending it, and how you're going to get your money. And we now have that. And we now have something, as you start to look at forecasting in 5 years, we have a platform, we have a foundation on which we can build many future years of budget. It's a ground zero, and it all starts, we all know this, having been the guy that bought a house in Nevada City sliding down a hill. It all starts with the foundation. And you got to get that foundation right, and it goes from there. And what we've got is a beautiful, solid foundation. And I applaud you. I applaud Sean for having the good sense to bring you on to do this. I feel like we're in very good shape, in very good hands. And I have no questions, nothing but just more effusive. I love it. So thank you very much. It's really a wonderful budget.
Thank you, Gary. Adam, sure, since I'm looking that way.
I'm thinking back to a year ago, it was before Lou and myself made it to the council, but I think we were at the meeting, sitting in the gallery, and it's funny, Gary's reaction, having worked with huge budgets before, for me, the biggest budget I had worked with was for the record store I had on Commercial Street, which was a tiny budget, so this was overwhelming to me. The one last year was overwhelming to me, and I read all of this one, and I understood it. I didn't have questions. I mean, that's a miracle. So great work. And I'd also just like to, again, say how thankful I am for the 4% raises for our outstanding city staff.
There you go. Thank you, Adam. Lou?
I'm a map junkie, as many of you may have noticed. So I even printed out where the sewer lids are going to be replaced. That was in the consent agenda.
I looked at that map.
Yes. Every Wednesday, well, now it's moved to Friday, I and a couple of my neighbors walk some neighborhood in town, and I get to say, look, we're doing that. Look, we're doing this. And now here it is in the budget, a map of, what part of Railroad Street is going to get new sidewalks, and I'm delighted. I did have a question for Sean, and it's a question that is not, I want to make sure that the people from the Fire Safety Advisory Committee know that the person running the fuels reduction operator, that's a full-time position?
Correct.
And then the liaison officer is another full-time position?
Correct.
Good. I wanted that on the record.
He'll hold you to it.
Oh, yeah.
Thank you.
And deserving of the attention of a full-time position in both.
Yes.
So
they're both
appreciate
grant-
everything, the work of the committee in getting us this far.
And they're both grant-funded, or?
The
One of them's
the
grant-funded.
operator's Prop 64 funded, the community risk reduction officer is Measure C funded.
So, Measure C, and that's great. Thank you, Steve. I think these guys covered the budget pretty well. I just want to talk about the CIP. So in my job now, I look at every city or county that we have as clients, and I read their CIPs. I read our CIP, which was the first one I've ever seen when I first got here, and it was, well, first of all, our strategic plan was a task list, and the CIP was nothing like what you presented to us. The pictures, the diagrams, the forecasting, and just to be able to see where all these big ticket items, this is a lot of money in our CIP, $8 million, right? And where that money is coming from, and it's just very clear, and most of it is grant funded, or there's a lot of grant funding in there, which I love, but, because it's not coming out of our pocket, and we have limited resources. One of the things that Sean started doing when he first got here was get us grant focused. And, I think we brought in $6 million in grants in the last year, more than our budget. So if you can leverage that and make it work better, that's even better. So I really appreciate that. And I love the maps, and I love I just love the format of the, the color coding. And I'm going to use that as an example when I talk to my clients. I say, can you do something like this? This really will help you, because some of them have really just crappy CIPs. So is this something you've done a lot, and this is you've done CIPs before, and this is a good format, or tell me a little bit about your process.
So this is only the third time I've had to create a 5-year CIP from scratch.
Wow.
Over 17 years.
Wow. Well, it's pretty good. I'm not going to go on and on unless there's any other questions. I think we're going to just.
I had one other comment. I feel like I want two things. One is, not only is the budget really great, but I just want to comment about how it is linked to our entire body of work. The linkage to our strategic plan is critical. This is, we're taking this system on, and we're doing it with planning, and then we tie the finances to it. But the other thing, too, is I do want to speak to the leadership of my colleagues. Every one of us has had our hands in this budget. It is not just us sitting back and go do the budget for us. Lou and I went through the CIP, and helped do that. And I really want to thank Lou, one of the guys that's gone from 0 to 5,000 miles an hour on a CIP in a great way. But everybody has had their hands in this. This is not something that was done for us by somebody, but we were listened to. We did it based on the plan. So it fits the entire city and what we're trying to do, and anybody can read it. So thank you, Doug.
Yeah, no problem. Anybody, we have plenty of time to talk about this. I thought it'd be like an hour-long conversation, so.
And we're always on the hunt for money. Brian, with the help of NCTC, got us $15,000 more money today for the Broad Street Y, which is a project in the CIP, the repaving after the undergrounding. So we'll always be on the hunt for grants. The biggest problem with grants for us, well, two big problems. One, we're too small to meet the metric for a lot of grants, but we'll always find ways to overcome that. But the other thing is grants management. We only have the staff to do what we have, so we'll have to build grants management into our grant applications. Now that we have this, assuming you adopt it, we have this CIP in place, the next steps for us are to come back to the council and have you prioritize, amend the CIP. You can add projects, delete projects, prioritize them. That will help us in future years budget for, but in this year decide what we're going to use our limited resources on as far as grants go. We'll go out for an RFP to get grant writing firms, and they will have a schedule of grants that match, predicted grants against what our CIP is, and have some, conditional costs of what it would cost to write those grants, so that I can use that to budget. If your number one priority is, $5 million, I don't have the $5 million, and they say it's $35,000 to write that grant, and 2 years from now, it's the Tiger grant comes up, I'm gonna budget $35,000 to write that grant, right? Because that's the only way we're gonna get that $5 million. So there's some method to the madness there, but it'll let us, look at these things in the long run. And the CIP, Brian has done a wonderful job of keeping this city going, and all the staff, obviously, but Brian, the traditional CIP is in his head. Now what we need to do is add to that as far as what's in the council's head and the community's head about what needs to be done across the spectrum, not just streets and water, wastewater, but the entire city. And you, through your committees and then ultimately through the council, amending the CIP and prioritizing the projects will let us enable those things to happen. And it's going to be wonderful. So.
I love it. It's beautiful. We're in such a great place, and
Pretty soon, everybody's going to be inappropriately.
I would say that about the CIP.
No, it's fabulous. It's fabulous.
So when you get to the process, I have some recommendations for grant firms that are competition. There's a couple of them that are really good that do great grants management and grant writing. So I'll certainly do that, and they do the same work we do. And you can pay them, you can't pay me, or pay my company, right? Well, thank you, Steve. That was so good. I mean, we could sit here and sing your praises all day long, because this is, it's really important for us to have this, and you've, got us there with Sean's guidance. So thank you.
Yeah, really.
I move we adopt the resolutions.
There you go. I want to read it.
I second it. I second, and you know,
Can we get a little more detail?
Okay. I'm gonna
All
say-
the resolutions, how's that?
There is, this item is to conduct a public hearing on the city's fiscal year 2023-2024 proposed annual budget by consideration of Resolution 2023-28, a resolution of the City Council of the City of Nevada City adopting fiscal year 2023-2024 budget, and consideration of Resolution 2023-29, a resolution of the City Council of the City of Nevada City adopting the 5-year capital improvement program 2023-2028, and consideration of resolution number 2023-30, a resolution of the City Council of the City of Nevada City adopting the fiscal year 2023-2024 citywide classification and compensation plan, and consideration of resolution number 2023-31, a resolution of the City Council of the City of Nevada City adopting the fiscal year 2023-2024 citywide master fee schedule, and consideration of resolution 2023-32, a resolution of the City Council of the City of Nevada City certifying compliance with the 2022-2023 appropriation limitations and establishing an appropriate limitation for the 2023-2024 fiscal year, adopting the appropriations limit for fiscal year 2023-2024, and consideration of resolution number 2023-37, a resolution of the City Council of the City of Nevada City adopting a fixed assets capitalization and inventory control policy, accounts receivable policy, and accounts payable policy.
Isn't that what I said? So moved.
second.
All right, so we have a first by Adam, and I can read. Second by Gary. Roll call, please.
Councilmember Cece?
Yes.
Councilmember Klein?
Yes.
Councilmember Peterson?
Yes.
And Mayor Fleming?
Hell yes.
I was going to say that, but I thought it was
4-0.
inappropriate.
Thank you. Thank you. I know, I'm cussing, I'm sorry. All right,
And
we have,
thank you, Steve. Thank you,
Again.
thank you, thank you.
Tonight is the Steve Show.
it is, and we're so happy that it's the Steve Show. Okay, item 13, consideration of resolution 2023-33, a resolution of the City Council of the City of Nevada City requesting the city county auditor/controller and tax collector collect Nevada City's 2002 special tax measure K for fiscal year 2023-24, and resolution number 2023-34, a resolution of the City Council of the City of Nevada City requesting that Nevada County Auditor, Controller, and Tax Collector to collect Nevada City's special tax 1986 for fiscal year 2023-24. Looking for a motion. Oh, no, we're not. We're public comment. I'm getting ahead of
We
myself.
haven't got a report yet.
So is there any public comment on this item here or abroad?
We don't get a report on it.
Oh, yeah, I'm sorry.
And just a reminder that we are still under public hearings, so this is considered to be open, the public hearing on item number 13, and thank you for calling for public comment, Mr. Mayor.
Okay. So we're going public comment first, right? Oh, no, she's leaving. I was excited for a second.
She's had enough already.
Okay, so, Steve.
Thank you again, Mr. Mayor, members of the council. So as the mayor so eloquently stated, the City of Nevada City does have two special taxes that it has adopted. The 1986 fire tax and the Measure K fire tax, which was approved in November of 2002. So the county does collect these taxes on behalf of the city, and it's to be applied to improved parcels on real property in tax code areas 02000, 02002, and 02005. The county does retain an appropriate administration fee for its expenses in the billing and collection of these taxes on the secured tax roll. These are collected in the same manner as ad valorem taxes. So resolutions, again, requesting the collection of these taxes are annually brought to the council for adoption in May for submittal to the county by July 1. So there are no policy implications associated with this action, and there's no impact to the city's general fund as these tax revenues are properly accounted for in special revenue funds due to their intended use. So having said that, staff respectfully requests that you adopt the two resolutions before you this evening. And that concludes my report. Thank you.
Thank you, Steve.
By the way, as a side note, nobody likes taxes, nobody likes fees. I've never seen such a low fee. It's $24 is the one tax, split up into two $12 fees, and the other one is $12, split up into two $6 fees. In this case, we annexed 3 parcels down Old Downeyville Highway in conjunction with the county property that's coming to become the Forest Service property. So this entire action tonight is a net of $108 that will come to the city. We have to do this whether there's changes or not, so even if there's no changes, we would have to ask you to adopt a resolution for that. So, those 3 houses that came in are paying $36 each to come into the city for fire tax, and you get a pretty good fire response for $36
By
a
my
year.
calculations, we just expended probably twice that amount of money.
In
to
staff
get
time,
it on
yes.
the agenda, right?
Yeah, gentlemen, does anybody have anything here to add to this? This is perfunctory, pretty much. This can't be on consent, huh?
It's got to be a public
It's a
hearing.
public hearing,
Yep.
right? Okay. So,
I move we adopt resolution number 2023-33 and resolution number 2023-34.
Second.
It's absolutely fine, so long as the city clerk reads the title of the resolution.
you got a few more years.
Neil?
Neil's not here.
The deputy city clerk.
So we had a first, did we have a second?
Second.
All right, let me get my glasses. 2023-33, a resolution of the City Council of the City of Nevada City requesting the Nevada County Auditor, Controller, no, is that one?
Too early.
Yes.
Yep.
Okay. Auditor, Controller, and Tax Collector to collect Nevada City's 2002 Special Tax Measure K for fiscal year 23-24, and Resolution Number 2023-34, a resolution of the City Council of the City of Nevada City requesting the Nevada County Auditor, Controller, and Tax Collector to collect Nevada City's Special Tax 1986 for fiscal year 2023. Now I need a roll call. Councilmember CC?
Yes.
Councilmember Klein?
Yes.
Councilmember Peterson?
Yes.
And Mayor Fleming.
Yes.
Passes 4-0.
Yep. Thank you. Steve, oh, are you next too?
Sure.
All right, so let me go back to my cheat sheet here. All right, this is item number 14, in consideration of Resolution 2023-36, a resolution of the City Council of Nevada City requesting the Nevada County Board of Supervisors to authorize county auditor, controller, and county tax collector to levy and collect delinquent sewer and/or water service charges against certain properties within the city of Nevada City. We got delinquent sewer people. Oh, no. Sewer people. Sewer clients.
Probably nice people with stuff got under.
So is there any public comment on this in the room or online? Okay, so take it away. Yeah, go
Okay.
first.
Thank you again, Mr. Mayor, members of the City Council. So Health and Safety Code Section 5473 authorizes the city to place delinquent sewer and/or water service charges on the tax roll for collection after the approval by a 2/3 vote by the members of the city's legislative body. This is done in the same manner as property taxes are handled. The city uses this option for sewer and/or water accounts where service cannot be discontinued as a collection method. The county's distribution of tax revenues is non-teetered for fiscal year 23-24, and the city will receive payment on delinquent sewer and/or water bills that are placed on the tax roll, even if a property owner does not pay the tax bill. This method is very effective and allows the city to collect charges from customers that have not made payment. So as of June 7th of 2023, we have a little over $24,000 in delinquent sewer and/or water bills outstanding. Before we remit this information over to the county, we will double-check this list again and ensure that those that have brought their accounts current are not subject to this action. And the city has already notified the delinquent account owners of these delinquencies in conformance with the Health and Safety Code. So with that, staff respectfully requests that you adopt resolution number 23-36. And that concludes my report.
Thank you, Steve. Adam, you're looking,
I'm just fascinated. What's been the process so far for trying to, you've talked to everyone?
So we reached out by phone, by any methods that we have on file here. We also sent out certified letters to all the delinquent account owners also. So that's been our method thus far.
Yeah.
Over the last 3 weeks.
no knocking on doors?
That I'm not sure of yet. I don't think we have, but
And when we did this last year, Tanya made the phone calls immediately after the council took action, and that's those voicemails, mostly they didn't get answered, seemed to elicit a reaction. I think we covered more than half of the delinquencies, had them come in the period, in the week after the council took
I
action.
can see that there's a lot of people that were on this list last year that are not on this list this year, so obviously a lot of progress there.
Could you refresh my mind? A certified letter, do you get a notification that the letter has been delivered?
yes.
Okay, thank you.
Lou, I'm sorry, I was just going to let you go. No, do you have anything else?
No.
Okay. Yeah, my comment was that, yeah, you guys are doing a good job because half the people that I saw on here last time, and some of them I knew, are not on here, so that's good, they paid.
The only other thing I'd add is it's really critical to stay on top of these. You know, we've got a city to pay for. And if you don't make it real, it gets really big really fast.
Yeah, like 3,500, that's a lot of money to owe for water.
Yeah.
That means you haven't been paying for the whole year, or you're watering something aggressively.
Something.
And we only have the opportunity to do this once a year. It's the way the county is structured. Steve and I are used to, and probably Gary was as well, a quarterly application of delinquent fees. So you, in this case, all you're seeing here is things that are more than 90 days. That's right, Steve, right? More than 90 days.
180.
180, I'm sorry, more than 180 days past due. So we're always playing catch up. But we're stuck with the 1 year process. But this number is relatively low. You know, we don't make that much interest on our general fund, but we do need to collect the monies.
What is the county's fee for this, for servicing this process?
I don't know what it is. They publish it
Percentage?
every year, but it's just their cost.
Yeah.
Okay, so they're not making money on us.
No, and
Maybe.
it would cost us much more to do this
Yeah,
in
yeah.
any other
That's the best
mechanism.
chance you got.
Yeah.
Excellent. Well, I think then we would look for a motion.
I move that we adopt Resolution 2023-36, a resolution requesting the Nevada County Board of Supervisors to authorize the county auditor, controller, and the county tax collector to levy and collect delinquent sewer and/or water service charges against certain properties within the city of Nevada City.
Boom.
Perfect.
First, second?
You're making me proud, Councilmember.
I just can't, I felt like I need to really jump in and
I second,
share the load.
I second Dean's statement and also yours.
Well, we need a first. I'll first. Well, he read
That's my first.
Oh, it was, okay, sorry, never mind. First by Gary, second by Adam, and we need a roll call.
Do I still need to read it, Dean?
It was read into the record, we're fine.
Thank you.
That was the sauce right there.
Councilmember Stacy.
Yes.
Councilmember Klein.
Yes.
Councilmember Peterson.
Yes.
And Mayor Fleming.
Yes.
Passes 4-0.
Yes. Okay.
Farewell
Thank
to
you,
the
Steve.
Steve Show.
Steve, the Steve Show is
Steve.
over. Well, thanks for coming in, appreciate it.
Yeah, and hanging out in Nevada City.
Okey doke. We're on to item 15, business. Consideration of award of contract and authorization to purchase playground equipment from Miracle Play Systems in an amount not to exceed $65,973.81, and authorize city manager to execute said contract and any related documents.
Don's on Zoom.
I write these resolutions all day long. So, yes, take it away, Dawn.
Good evening, council. I'm sorry I couldn't be there. We started swim lessons this week at the swimming pool.
I can tell you're at the pool.
So, we have funding through Prop 68, which went through the city and was passed by voters. And the city, some of the Prop 68 funds were per capita, which the city applied for and received. And then the county had funds as well and offered to pass those through, and through an application process, the city received some of the county's Prop 68 per capita funds as well. And so the city council approved those funds to be used for Pioneer Park improvements, including the tennis courts and the playground. And so we're doing, at the tennis courts, as you know, we put in lights, we're doing resurfacing, and then at the playground, we hope to put in a piece of equipment that'll be ADA accessible. You'll be able to roll a wheelchair on it, and of course, everyone can play on it as well. It will also include some smaller pieces, like musical pieces. They're not loud, but that the kids can play with while they are at the park.
take the
And
decibel
it
level.
also includes surfacing. So obviously, a lot of our playground right now is still bark and sand, so we'll be transitioning some of the bark to the rubberized surface, so they'll be able to roll right onto their new play equipment. Let's see, and we are a member of Sourcewell, which provides combined buying power of 50,000 governmental, educational, and nonprofit organizations using ready-to-use competitively solicited contracts. So that we're getting our equipment through Miracle Play Systems. And we just met with them today, just to kind of go over the details and hoping that you guys will approve this. It still will take until probably fall to install the new equipment. Once I let them know if you've approved it, then they can get it ordered, and it'll take some time, but then we can our Public Works will be doing some of the prep work for the site. So I think I've covered the gist of it. I'll take any questions.
Thanks, John. First, we're going to check for public comment in the room, online. Nope, okay. Lou?
Has this equipment or resurfacing been tested for what they call forever chemicals?
I don't know the answer to that specifically, no. I can find out.
Okay, I'd appreciate that.
That's it, Lou?
That's it.
Okay, Adam?
I just want to say how great I think it is to go with an ADA compliant playground. I'm trying to remember how long ago this was, but me and my older brother were at Pioneer Park with our nieces some years back, and my brother's got a super heavy wheelchair, and he was, I think the playground's obviously for the kids and everything, but getting my brother out there so he could hang out with all of us while the girls were playing. And he sunk in that sand, and we ended up having to get like 5 guys to lift him out of it. And so the idea that that's not going to happen anymore, that seems pretty great to me. I'm all in favor. And also just the idea, ADA compliance is just to make sure everybody has access. And the playground's not for just some kids, it's for all kids. And I think that's great. I'm thrilled we're doing that. Thanks, Tom.
Well said, Adam. Well said. Gary?
Yeah, I built a couple playgrounds, ADA playgrounds, and the musical pieces are they're like the marimba things, the wooden chunks or the bells, but they're very popular because, as a kid, just making a racket is what it's all about. But good for you. It's good stuff. Thank you.
Yeah, thanks, Don. This per capita money came through a while ago. It just took a while I know Parks is sort of backed up as far as funding. I mean, if we look at our recreational trail money, did this take a little bit longer than usual to get this money from Parks, or was, because this happened like 2 or 3 years ago that we authorized this, right?
Yes, correct. It's actually a reimbursement program, so we haven't actually received the funds yet. We'll be taking it out of the park budget and then getting reimbursed for that. And so, yeah, we've just been, I think the lights took us the lights at the tennis court took us a little while to get through.
Yeah.
And so now we're ready to move on to the next project. So,
Cool.
yeah, and the surfacing at the tennis court should be happening soon. We just need to make sure it's all dried out from the winter weather.
Okay, great. And that's on the deck to happen as soon as possible, right, as far as resurfacing?
Yeah, probably in the next couple weeks, we'll
Oh,
we'll
wow.
get it scheduled.
Excellent, thanks. Unless anybody else has any comments or questions, I thank you so much for this, and it's exciting. And I agree 100% with Adam. You know, I think that, you know, accessibility is really important, and we, as a city, we embrace that concept, and so this is us putting our, you know, that concept into action. So thank you for that. I'm just concerned about the wheelchairs going round and round really fast. And are there hooks on it, or can you put the brakes on the wheelchair, or what do you do?
No, it doesn't go as fast as the ones that were around when we were kids.
Okay, well, that's good.
Intended to fling you off. That's what we used Pioneer Park for.
Yeah. Because that was,
We're on that, maybe together at some point. That thing was insane.
I included a link in the staff report. If you go to kind of scroll down, you can watch a video of it. You can see it's not gonna spin crazily like the ones we had when I was a kid.
I know, those were deadly for anybody. And I'll tell you, I think it's, what's the name of the company that does this, that creates the playground material?
There's lots of them. We're working with Miracle Play Systems.
Yeah, they have one of the longest contracts I've ever seen for a piece of playground equipment. So it's very thorough. Anyway, thank you, Dawn. Really appreciate the work and getting this done and coming to us while you're working at Pioneer Park, so thank you.
You're welcome.
All right, so can I get a motion? Oh, sorry, Lou.
Just before we move on,
Harley.
Don, if you'd like a list of what I mean by forever chemicals, I can provide that for you. Thank you.
Yeah, I plan to follow up in an email with you.
Thank you.
Okay, so, anybody?
Did we call for public comment, Mr. Mayor? I'm sorry. I
Yeah,
didn't hear that.
I did it first. I did.
He did, Dean, he did.
I did for a change, right? He just, so I need a motion from you, gentlemen.
I move we award the contract and authorize the city manager to execute the related documents as pertains to the purchase of the playground equipment from Miracle Play Systems in an amount not to exceed $65,973.81, and authorize the city manager to execute the contract and any related documents, which I've now said twice just to make Dean extra happy.
I second.
All right, first by Adam, second by Gary. All those, roll call, please.
Councilmember Cece.
Yes.
Councilmember Klein.
Yes.
Councilmember Peterson.
Yes.
And Mayor Fleming.
Yes,
Passes 4-0.
thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah, thanks, Don.
Good work, Don.
So now is the time for reports and the city manager's report. Why don't you go ahead and give us your city manager's report, Sean?
All right, thank you, Mr. Mayor. The July-August newsletter will get mailed to city addresses the week of June 26th, so that comes out soon. Look for the newsletter in your mailbox or our website or on social media. Next week, now that you approve the budget, we'll begin the recruitment for the fire fuels reduction operator and the community risk reduction and outreach officer that you approved tonight. We'll also be flying a maintenance worker 1 and 2 positions for those folks that might be interested. Those are for current vacancies related to promotions that we just had. That information will be on our website and in the newsletter as well. Next Wednesday, I think Neil mentioned it, is the summer solstice, so longest day of the year. Kids are out of school, and as you can tell from Dawn giving her information from the park, whether you're joining us for movies under the pines, or attending summer camp, or swimming at the pool, or attending art walk or summer nights, we have activities for just about everyone. We say K to gray, but actually younger than K and older than gray. And so, a different way to say that is come spend your disposable income in Nevada City. We'd love to see you here. We got a lot to offer, but thank you, council, for this evening. I really appreciate the opportunity to be here and present this budget with Steve and, as Gary so eloquently said, set that foundation for the future. So that's all I have for you this evening, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you. Gentlemen, who's got committee stuff or anything? Lou, you got some things to talk about.
I do indeed. Kind of related to the Fire Safety Advisory Committee, the Nevada County Firewise Communities, and is not the Firewise Communities, but the OAS Department is doing a survey to help them build their county wildfire protection plan. And I urge everyone to go out and take that survey. It's online and available from the county website. That was number one. Number two, we start every meeting with our recognition of the Nisenan, and it might be useful for us to learn a little bit more about them. And they are having an event this weekend on Sunday, June 18th at 3:30, called Building a Framework for Truth, the Ethics in Academic Research, Inclusion of Indigenous Rights, and a Documented History of the Various California Genocides that affected the original peoples of this land. And it will be both an educational and a musical event and a fundraiser for the Nisenan. So I recommend it to everyone.
Can you say that date again, June 18th at 3:30?
June 18th, 3:30 at the Center for the Arts.
Oh, yes,
in Grass Valley.
Thank you.
3:30 to 7:30.
Thank you. Gary?
Yes, thank you. Let's see, a couple things. Actually, Doug and I met with folks from Placer County Water today. We're looking at regional biomass. And very interesting process. We'll see where it all goes, but it's a big, three-county effort to see if they can determine. Actually, really, it's about determining whether they can sustain a steady flow of biomass in a way that would make a biomass generator viable. So it's all about investment stuff. So, but really interesting. Some smart people working on that. Lou and I met with Brian and the infrastructure committee and the parking committee, and I think we're coming back to the council here the 28th, is it? With some great stuff. I think there was some really good thinking in there. Brian, I was thinking about that. One of the recommendations to make the parking lots safer with better lighting, and I know where there's 6 really tall lights that would really light up those parking lots. But on that note, Brian, a lot of work going on around the city, looking good. I don't know, it's the old public works guy on me, but man, that pavement on Sacramento Street is so smooth. Really nicely done. The cuts were good. They did a good job. Then working up on Niles Street and around town, but a lot of stuff happening. Looking really good. It's just great to see the activity and the investment and the maintenance of infrastructure. That'll do it.
Okay, thank you, Gary. Yeah, I love the pavement. I drive that route all the time. The transitions during constructions were a little rough.
Bump, bump.
They were a little rough. They said bump, but you really, it was. But now the end product is wonderful.
Lovely.
And it's smooth. And my kid just looked at it and he said, "This is perfect for skateboarding." So I said,
Wait till they resurface the tennis court.
yeah, well, no. He's already been approached by law enforcement about skating on the tennis courts with his friends, so he won't do that anymore, I hope. Couple announcements. Color Me Human is sponsoring a Juneteenth celebration again in Pioneer Park at 12 o'clock on Saturday, the 17th. And I hope everybody can come. And then Peace Lutheran Church in Grass Valley is having a celebration at their facility at 6:30 or 6 or 6:30, I believe, maybe 6 o'clock. So if anybody feels so inclined, please join us for that celebration. There's also, I'd have to thank Karen Mueller from Probation that she is sponsoring or helping manage a skateboard camp for our city's youth because they're just running amok without a lot of athletic facilities. So that is Monday and Wednesday at 2 p.m. at Seven Hills School. And they first day, Max was the only one there. Today there were 5 kids and they built some, Karen's husband built some rails and some boxes and they're very excited. They're going to go on trips to Woodward and the skate park in Truckee and all the places that have skate park besides us because we don't have a skate park. So that's my little pitch for skate parks for today. And so, I don't have, I could go on, but I've been admonished. And we have a bet. Oh, I'm going to make it.
I haven't given any comment.
Oh, yeah, I know, sorry.
And I have a follow-up
No,
comment.
sorry, Adam. I apologize. I'm trying to get the under.
I can't afford betting right now. Really quick, Lou brought up the Nisenan event, which is, I think, going to be incredible, but my buddy Marie Sue, who's one of the greatest musical exports of this area, is going to be performing at that event, singing, and I'll just very quickly say, the first time I heard her sing, I just knew her as a person, and hadn't heard her sing before. This is a long time ago, but she sang at the Magic Theater, which is now the Onyx, but they used to have shows there. And I got in late. I think my band had played a show in Sacramento, and I drove as fast as I could to get home. And I went in there and I sat down, and it wasn't even a sad song, but just the sound of her voice, I just started sobbing. She's incredible. I'm saying that's another reason to go to that event. We've got Fire Safety Advisory tomorrow evening here in this room. That's public. Anyone can show up if that's of interest to you. It should be. We had the Green Waste event up at the Rood Center, which was very different than the one before. It's still very worthwhile. It turns out you get a lot more green waste right after a storm than this time of year. So it was I think we filled one bin full of green waste this time. Last time I think it was 4.
Yeah.
But we got
Washing machines.
yeah, WM got a lot of mattresses, mattresses, washing machines, electronic devices. It's all good to get that stuff out of our houses. That's cool. And the Pride flag raising event was absolutely beautiful. Anyone who wonders why we're doing that, you missed some speeches, from my colleagues, but also from just local kids. And there's no better reason than to enthusiastically support Pride in Nevada City than hearing from these kids. Just that they know that they're appreciated, welcome, and loved in this community makes it all worthwhile. I think that's all I've got. Thanks, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you. I apologize for skipping over you there. Lou, you had something else?
It was a follow-up on the Pride flags, which is I want to thank the Nevada County Pride Organization for putting up the American flags for Flag Day, and tomorrow for volunteering to putting the gay pride flags back up.
Yeah, nice touch this year. I was like, whoa, they changed it really quickly. I did get a complaint about the flags, whatever they are, on Spring Street that block the stop sign, and that's a dicey intersection anyway. So I don't know.
Smaller flag.
Oh, we could get, yeah.
We will take a look.
Yeah. And I think we're done, and I win some money. I'm looking for a motion to adjourn
I
now.
move we adjourn.
I second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All those opposed? I don't think anybody's going to oppose that. We're adjourned. Thank you, everyone. Thank you,
done.
Gabby. Thank you, everybody in the